Ooh, it's nearly here! That's right, E3 is right around the corner, and you better believe that Defunct Games is going to be bringing the pain and bringing the coverage like never before. However, that leaves me in a pickle, as this week I learnt that this week will seem pretty pale in comparison, so I only hope we have enough steam to make it through to the end of the episode without Cyril, who's hard at work on this week's videos and planning the mammoth week that will be the E3 coverage. Well, let's see how we get on, and God help me if we run out of stories before 10. I'm Lorne, and I have my fingers crossed, and here are 10 things we learned this week. This week we saw the welcome return of our good friends over at CD Projekt Red to the headlines, because it turns out that it costs you a lot of money when you promise a paradigm-shifting, franchise-sparking juggernaut of a title and instead ship a broken game with all the stability of a bag of M&Ms propping up the Tower of Pisa. This week we learnt that the cost of fixing Cyberpunk 2077 could be as much as $9 million alone in the last 12 months, not even including the negative impact on the company's growth and net value as a result of the backlash that followed the game's release and litany of problems reported by us here at DGN. Although they did claim, quote, the company saw record-breaking positive cash flows this year, which I presume is a classic CDPR joke. Hey everybody, our game made loads of money, and sure I had to give it all back, but look at all the money that we're having to give back. It's record-breaking. This week we learnt that the producers of this year's E3 are massive fans of Cyril's series of the EGM awards show Best and Worst, because they're going all out this year and hosting an official E3 2021 awards show, recognizing the show's most anticipated games, upcoming publishers and other members of the gaming community, chosen by a panel of editors from IGN, GameSpot, GamesRadar and PC Gamer, sites who have no vested interest in access to these games and no reason whatsoever to hype them up at the behest of the developers they're praising. Come on now, how can you award games a prize for being something when they're not even out yet? You know, that's how you end up with a 2077 or a Watch Dogs or a Crackdown 3. Is that what you want? More abject failures? More disappointment? More Robert Pattinson? No, I didn't think so. So instead, treat yourself. Go check out the EGM Awards Show series here on Defunct Games. It's way more legitimate, has 100% more me and Cyril in it, and covers EGM over the years, so you know it's awesome. This week we learnt that Nintendo's crusade against copyright infringement made them $2.1 million richer, and it's been announced that they've won a lawsuit against a ROM hosting website called ROM Universe. Now, normally I tend to side with the party that isn't Nintendo, because Nintendo are the kinds of folks abusing the YouTube claims system before it was something your Auntie Karen did as a hobby. But in this case, the site in question was not only pirating Nintendo's games, but offering a premium service to allow people to download more than their allotted amount. And when the owner of ROM Universe was pressed for a defense, he denied the charges because he, quote, never checked what was on the ROMs he was selling. In other words, how could it be stealing when I don't even know what it is I took without permission? I think you'll agree, rock solid logic at play there. But now Nintendo is a couple of milli richer, maybe they can invest that money into a movie property of a famous franchise character of theirs. And speaking of a certain franchise-leading mustached little plumber, not only have Nintendo partnered with Illumination Entertainment, the studio behind Despicable Me and Secret Life of Pets, to develop an animated movie starring Mario, it turns out fans of masochism are preparing to subject us to a torrent of comments amounting to, actually, I think the Super Mario Bros. Movie was an underrated classic of its time, and it wasn't as bad as people claim. Because this week we learnt that despite being wrong about that opinion, look at what they think a Goomba looks like, and does Dennis Hopper look like Bowser to you? A group of fans released an extended cut of the 1993 Super Mario Bros. Movie featuring 20 minutes of previously undiscovered deleted scenes from the film, entitled The Morton Jangle Cut. The main scene cut is not really that interesting. It's Mario and Luigi competing with a mob-run plumbing company because Italian stereotypes, I guess. It also has supporting characters Iggy and Spike performing a rap after the film's climax. Haunting, but I am perplexed. Who heard the phrase, "Look, we found extra footage of that live-action Mario movie," and didn't immediately react by setting the footage ablaze and sending the ashes to the four corners of the globe? It's like being tortured for 2 full hours and then saying, "Hey, let's watch another Twilight movie." This week I learned that it's getting frustrating for developers who successfully hide Easter eggs in their games when players never find them, so they just say, screw it, here, have an Easter egg. Because this week we learned that in Mass Effect 3, there's an Easter egg that is laid, you get it? Laid, egg. Anyway, laid dormant for 9 years as cinematic designer Richard Boisvert has revealed an homage to the NASA Mars rover program was left in the Mars mission of Mass Effect 3. Where following a path leads you to the little fella who will drive over to you and give you a nod. Just the sort of plucky action one needs in a game about galactic annihilation by a horde of space squids with frickin' laser beams attached to their frickin' heads. I mean, I'm not a game designer, but if these devs are so upset about people not finding their carefully laid Easter eggs, then maybe, just maybe, they should stop hiding them so thoroughly. Or make them more appealing to the fans desperately trying to uncover alternate romance options digging through the code. Not me though. My heart belongs to Liara. Oh, Liara. Are you the sort of person that can afford to burn Rembrandts to keep warm? Do you charge your Tesla with electricity you generate from the static of your mink coats? Do you build your 10-story mansions out of smaller, 1-story mansions? Well, good news for you, because this week we learnt that the humble folks at Balenciaga, on behalf of PlayStation, will not only sell you a pair of trainers like we previously reported, but they'll also part with one of these fetching t-shirts for the low price of $675 each. Or this stunningly mediocre hoodie for the modest price of $875. So if you're the sort of person that thinks their branded apparel should cost more than the item it's shilling for, then what are you waiting for? This week I learned that whee! Look at it, isn't it ridiculous? It turns out that this hyper-realistic world of Red Dead Redemption 2, near to Rolth County where nobody wins, baby. If you stand by a specific water wheel and just wait a memento, you'll be jettisoned from Strawberry, where the wheel is located, into the middle of next week. You'll be looking like Doctor Who going through time. Varmints will be asking, is it a bird? Is it an avian device that hasn't been invented yet? I'm not done. You'll be over the rainbow, barreling towards Blackwater, soaring to Saint Denis. Just one more. You'll be tearing your way to Tar Nation. Okay, I'm done. And if you do it online, you'll be deadsies upon landing. And while I understand Rockstar likes to reference their other games and current games, I doubt this is an intentional nod to Grand Theft Auto 4's swing set glitch. This week I learned that you should never ever get your hopes up on when a game is going to drop, especially when the game in question is untitled and has a fake logo used as part of its promotional cycle. This week it was announced that the highly anticipated God of War sequel, aka Dad of War 2, It's Time to Get Nautical, has been pushed back to 2022, so you'll have to wait another year to see what the lovable scamps of Kratos and Atreus get up to on their father and son camping trip that's less great outdoors and more 300. According to an official statement from Sony's Santa Monica studio, quote, "We remain focused on delivering top quality games while maintaining the safety and well-being of our team, creative partners and families. With this in mind, we've made the decision to shift our release window to 2022. And while it's certainly disappointing to hear, and indeed the latest in a series of games to see such delays, frankly, I, like many of you, would sooner see these delays that yield a good game than deadlines met that produce the Cyberpunks of this world." Are you a massive fan of Who's That Pokemon? Do you enjoy a Friday evening doing silhouettes with Mother? Well then, good news, because this week we learnt that the cast of the upcoming Borderlands movie have suited up in their costumes, taken pictures to hype you up, and then forgotten which way the lighting rig was facing, because the cast of the movie, including Kevin Hart's Roland, Jamie Lee Curtis's Dr. Tannis, Jack Black's Claptrap, Cate Blanchett's Lilith, have images that show outlines of each character, and well, yeah, they look like the outlines of the characters in the game, I guess. But come on, give me something to be excited about beyond the absence of colour. It's Borderlands! Be bombastic, guys! I want to see guns made of smaller talking guns. I want to hear psychos rampaging. I want to see Claptrap talking smack. I want to see mayhem and carnage. I really should seek help. And finally this week we learnt that, sweet chocolate-coated Buddha. I only have 9 stories. Oh god, I only have 9 stories. What am I going to do? What am I going to do?
Oh, hey Lorne, I think I can help you with that.
Wait, Cyril? You're here? You've got another story for us?
That's right, I learned something that you didn't mention, but I don't think you're gonna like it.
Oh, no, trust me, I'm gonna love it.
I mean, it's really stupid. Look, I shouldn't even have brought it up.
Okay, for the love of... unless you're about to tell me that Ninja is joining us on Defunct Games from now on, it'll be great. Come on, the show's hanging by a thread here.
Okay, if you insist.
Trust me, I do. Go get him, Cyril.
This week I learned that some people have way too much money. Like, seriously, way too much goddamn money. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but a McDonald's Chicken McNugget sold on eBay for a whopping $99,000. Why? Well, obviously this was not your typical McNugget. It kinda sorta looks like one of those characters from that game Among Us. And it's also a Happy Meal produced in partnership with that band BTS, which I think everybody's into. Okay, look, I confess, this is dumb, but let me ask you this. Is spending $100,000 on a Chicken McNugget really any worse than buying NFT art? Yeah, I didn't think so. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Damn right I will, especially now that I know I've got a freezer full of deep-fried gold. Well, I've got to get going now to see how much someone's going to bid on a turkey Twizzler that looks like Lady Dimitrescu that I have. And I hope that filled your burning yearning for some learning, because that, gamers and gamettes, was 10 things we learned this week. Hey! Thanks for watching this episode of 10 Things We Learned This Week. If you like what you saw here, then you should know that we're going to be focusing on E3 starting on the 14th of June. You'll definitely want to tune in for that. Now, here's the question I have for you, and say it with me now. What did you learn this week? We want to hear from you. Lots of gaming movie news recently. Is that enough to get you excited for movie games? Or is it just more incentive to carry on gaming? In other news, Cyril will be back for a full week of gaming goodies, including another story breakdown and reviews of Electro Ride, Donuts and Justice, and more. That sounds good to you? Then I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and you support what we're doing here. Until then,